Vincent Chan's offending is the most abhorrent offending that you can ever come across. He is a paedophile who preyed on the most vulnerable victims in child settings, both at primary schools and nursery establishments, where at the time that he should have been nurturing and looking after those children, he committed the most vile offending.
And can you give an idea of the scale of scale? Is he one of the most prolific sex offenders that the Met has dealt?
Well, we know that Vincent Chan is a paedophile who has spanned across from 2007 up until he was arrested. We know he preyed at those establishments. We know that he preyed on the most vulnerable individuals. So he certainly is one of the most heinous individuals and predators that we have come across.
How do you think he's managed to go undetected for so long?
He did do this offending in high risk areas, in child settings, in the primary schools, but he was able to avoid detection, and it was only when a nursery worker saw a video that he had depicted of non-sexual crimes that his behaviour became apparent, and subsequent downloading of digital devices was what's basically unearthed his offending over this period. But ultimately he was able to go undetected for many, many years.
And what are the specific challenges for the investigators dealing with the case? That is the amount of evidence you have to go through in the harrowing content.
Certainly the digital devices, we have reviewed over 300 hours of both moving imagery and single imagery, which were all across Vincent Chan's 69 digital devices. That offending is the most abhorrent offending that you could ever view, with officers having to sit there daily to grade the images and the videos that they were seeing. We know that digital imagery and digital devices are at the heart of all criminal investigations now, and so significantly this was an area of our investigation which was so significant, but ultimately was what brought Vincent Chan to justice.
And finally, do you think there are potentially more victims that haven't been identified?
So the investigation team have done their best to identify all those victims that we have identified through the images. Unfortunately, the takeaway from this investigation will be the unknown. We know what we know because he recorded himself doing these acts, and we know that he's then kept those images of his offending, but we also know that he's worked for many years across these settings, and what we don't know is the offending that may have occurred where he didn't digitally record it. And to the families that have had children go through those establishments, I absolutely appreciate that the unknown is having a massive impact on them, and hurt that they will never really know what happened and will never really know the level of Chan's offending.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I've got a statement that I can make.
Okay.
I, Vincent Chan, 281080, hereby confirm that I am guilty of all the things complained of in the disclosure document, namely 1. Voyeurism ×5, 2. Sexual assault, dated the 9th of July 2011, and 3. Taking an indecent image, again 2011, and that's signed and dated.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So thank you for the prepared statement, and I take that as exactly what it says. You're saying that you're guilty of all of what has been disclosed to the solicitor. I still have questions, of course, because rightly so, as police, we want to understand, what's happened and why it has happened. So, upon reviewing your device, it became very clear that you had placed cameras in your bathroom and you had also placed cameras in your living room and bedroom. Tell me about that. Why did you place cameras in your house? And what exactly did you use? What devices did you use to do that? How did you place the cameras? Let's focus first in your bathroom. How did you place them there? What about in your living room? And in the bedroom, how did you place a camera there? When did you place them? Why did you place them? What was your intention? How do you feel about the videos I've told you so far? Do you recall those videos?
So it's these three, yeah? There's another thing as well, mate. So basically, you're also further under arrest for digital penetration of a minor, okay? So same time of arrest, that's 10 to 8. You don't have to say anything, may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned, something which later on in court and if you do seem to be given evidence.
Yeah, 6449.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Yeah. Is there anything in here, anything, no weapons or anything like that, yeah?
Control from Charlie November 117. What call sign did you use earlier? 150 CM 150. And your